Good evening. I am Ronaldo McKenzie. Welcome to another episode 6 of the Neoliberal Round podcast. This evening, we want to report on what's happening in the Ukraine-Russian war. We got an update from President Zelensky. We also have an update from the Minister of Defense of Ukraine, and we're going to be sharing some of those with you. We also have a follow-up on the story that I had carried regarding Blogger or Blogspot, which is developed by the Russians, an affiliate of Google, which was blocking bloggers. I have an update on that as well. So let's begin. First and foremost, President Zelensky of Ukraine submitted an update regarding the war, and this update was submitted on March 5th, today at 2:05 p.m. And actually, this is the most recent update, and I would like to share this video with you. It was about 4 or 5 minutes, but I am going to be playing about a minute of the video for you, which is in Ukrainian, and then I would lift up the main points in English for you. Let me bring this video up for you. Here we go.
Абсолютна більшість. Що ще потрібно для ухвалення рішень? Ми впевнені, схожий результат і в інших демократичних країнах. Збройні сили України хоробро тримають усі ключові напрями нашої оборони. Контратакують окупантів під Харковом, захищаючи місто. Тримають Миколаїв, Київ, тримають Чернігівщину, Сумщину, Донбас. Ми завдаємо окупантам таких втрат, які вони не бачили і в найстрашнішому сні. Російська армія не вийшла на заплановані рубежі, але вийшла майже на 10 тисяч убитих російських військових. 10 тисяч – це страшно. Це хлопці 18-20 років, зовсім молоді, майже діти, солдати, яким навіть не змогли пояснити, за що вони йдуть воювати. За що і чому вони на чужій землі. 10 тисяч. Росія точно могла би дати цим своїм людям щось інше, крім смерті. Український народ чинить спротив і там, де окупантам вдалося пройти. На жаль, але ненадовго пройти. Я захоплююся кожним українцем.
That is President Zelensky of Ukraine. And I am going to be, and what the main points of his message in the video was: 1, he calls for a no-fly zone in the region and stated that 74% of Americans support the no-fly zone. Yet, we have not approved the request, a decision that will help significantly Ukraine's advantage in the war. The second point of his video message was that the armed forces of Ukraine hold all areas of defense and are counter-attacking Russian invaders near Kharkiv and holding the line in Mykolaiv, Kyiv, Chernihiv region, Sumy region, and Donbas. Third, he said that we, Ukraine, inflicted damages on the invaders. The Russian army has not reached the planned frontiers, and 10,000 Russian soldiers, many of whom are 18 to 20 years old, were killed. Again, let me repeat, President Zelensky of Russia is saying that the armed forces of Ukraine hold all areas of defense and are counter-attacking Russian invaders near Kharkiv and holding the line in Mykolaiv, Kyiv, Chernihiv region, Sumy region, and Donbas. And thirdly, he says that Ukraine inflicted damages on the invaders. The Russian army has not reached planned frontiers, and that 10,000 Russian soldiers, many of whom are 18 to 20 years old, were killed. Fourthly, he says that every Ukrainian is fighting and resisting the enemy, even where they are advancing, but not for long. Glory to Ukraine. And that was from President Zelensky. In fact, he submitted other news after that particular video post. He submitted one at 5:32 p.m. where he says that we continue to fight, we will protect our state, we will liberate our land, thanks to our heroes. We will continue to fight, we will protect our land and our state, we will liberate our land, thanks to our heroes. And he also submitted a video at 3:49. This is the last video he submitted today at 3:49 p.m. Every meter of our Ukrainian land won by protest and humiliation of the invaders is a step forward. A step towards victory for our entire state. This is a chance to live. Ukrainians in all our cities where the enemy entered, feel it. Go on the offensive. And so he's been submitted. So President Zelensky has been releasing several videos using his Telegram and several other social media feeds and pages, inspiring, motivating, rallying Ukrainians to fight, and thanking them. And they're hearing, and he's telling them through protest, even if the enemy has occupied your city, protest and fight. And so he's been releasing those messages. In fact, we heard earlier, and I actually submitted a blog at 5:06 a.m. this morning, which was a news update about what's happening in Ukraine, where I said at 2:57 a.m. the Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Olensky Reznikov, said that currently more than 66,000 men have returned from abroad to defend Ukraine. 66,000 men. And at 4:34 a.m., which was sometimes that's Ukrainian time, a website where soldiers from a website was created, and it's fightforukraineua.org. Fightforukraineua.org. That website was created where soldiers from abroad can join Ukraine in fighting Russian invasion, and it is now online. It contains all the necessary information for those who want to join the Ukrainian International Legion. And you can also go on my blog, ReinaldoCMcKenzie.blogspot.com, and there is a link to this particular website, fightforukraineua.org. You can click on the link and it will take you straight to that website where you can actually sign up. It's that particular story was submitted at 5:06 a.m. on March 5th. I also posted that at 4:23 a.m. Oleksiy Kuleba, who is the head of the Kiev Regional State Administration, talks about the most dangerous areas. And he said that Bucha, Irpin, Gostomel, Bakarov, there's also north of Vishrod district and Shaitomir highway. Those are the most dangerous areas. Evade those areas. He said that the invaders continue to accumulate troops and equipment, shelling residential areas and critical infrastructure. Constant alarms of a possible air raid almost all over the region is heard constantly. The fight against sabotage group continues in all districts of Kiev region. Regional and local authorities are ready to evacuate people and deliver humanitarian aid from the most difficult areas as soon as regiment or regime of silence is declared. Now, of course, we're hearing that the authorities are doing everything necessary to control the difficult situation in the region. At 3:39 a.m. this morning, I obtained a video that shows an image of Kherson this morning. The video was published by the advisor to the head of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Anton Gerashenko. He reports that more than 2,000 people came to the rally against the Russian occupiers in Kherson. UPD from Gerashenko, the Russians fired automatic rifles into the air, but people did not disperse. And you can also check out that video, which I also posted on YouTube, and you can get links or access to that also if you visit RonaldoCMcKenzie.blogspot.com. There is a video of that. Now, that's what's going on in Kherson and in Ukraine. But the most recent update as to what's going on is that, one, that the armed forces of Ukraine has held all areas of defense and are counterattacking Russia, the Russian invaders. And this story is the most recent information we're getting, and this is coming from the president's desk. And we're also hearing that Ukraine has inflicted major damages on to Russia, to the Russian army, so that the Russian army has not reached the planned frontiers, and 10,000 Russian soldiers, many of whom are 18 to 20 years old, were killed. And President Zelensky continued to encourage and to urge Ukrainians to fight. And several hundred thousands of people from abroad, Ukrainians from abroad, and internationals are joining the fight, signing up to fight for Ukraine. And the website has been created. And if you are an international, or you are here in the US, or anywhere in the world, and you can sign up to fight for Ukraine, please do so. Fight for Ukraine UA.org. We also want to report on a particular story that's been happening, and I want to follow up on a report that I did earlier regarding my Pro account features being blocked by Russia, as the platform is Russian-owned and developed. Now, I was able to get this resolved, and for persons who listened to the previous podcast episode and who have been following me, my tweets and my social media and my blog on blogspot.com, would have read the reports and know exactly what I'm talking about here. I had submitted a report regarding my Pro account, my blog account being blocked. And I discovered that it was owned by Russia. I was able to get it resolved. I had stated that since Friday, I haven't been able to post in the feed, since I've been posting against Russia and in support of Ukraine and providing updates about the war. Now, I reached out to Blogspot, and one of its developers, Vadim N. Petrov, replied. And this was after several attempts at fixing the problem, and my tweets, podcasts, and posts about Blogspot and Blogger, which is an affiliate of Google, being owned by Russia and blocking my blogs. Mr. Vadim, who is one of the developers, stated in an email that Blogger, which is ex-Blogspot, developed by the American company Google, and that the application, which is more than 3 years in the App Store for the Blogger platform, is being developed by 3 Ukrainians and 2 Russian developers. Hacking your account, which is my account here, he's talking about, which is an accusation I had levied against them, is technically impossible, he's saying. And asks the question, why would we need to do it? Why do we need it? Now, I don't know if he's talking about why Blogspot needed it or why Russia, because my allegation was that Russians were attacking it. But then, of course, he was saying that the app was developed by the American company Google. But then was saying, why would we need to hack your account? But I'm not saying that you are hacking their. I wasn't charging them. I wasn't saying that they were Blogger News or Google was hacking their account. I was saying that Russia. But he said that Russia is not hacked. He said that they're not Russian. But then went further to say, why would we need it? And when he said need, is he responding to my allegation saying that Russia, which controls the app and develops the app, is preventing me from utilizing the features? Or when he says we, is he saying Blogger because he says it's not Russian that developed Blogger News or Blogger? It's an American company. But I'm not saying the American company is doing this. I'm saying it's Blogger News. But let me continue with his reply here. He continues. He says that you sent screenshots of resetting granted permissions upon reauthorization, as it should be. This is a Google requirement. If you think we are evil Russians or evil Russian hackers, we are not. Our team is against war. Now, we are trying to solve your problem so that you have a good experience using our application. Let's try to solve your problem. And this is from Vadim N. Petrov, Blogger developer. And this was submitted March 4, 12:51 a.m. in an email he sent with responding to my allegations and to my query and inquiry. And of course, I replied in a follow-up email saying I deleted the app and reinstalled it, and it's still not working. It shows on my Apple Store that the app subscription is active. I have an annual subscription. The app states that it's developed by Russia. Why is the app still not working? How is it supposed to? I can't edit or add blogs to the feed, and the app is behaving unstable. This just started since I've been posting about the war. Please advise. And this was an email which was submitted on March 4, 3:23 a.m. to Vadim N. Petrov, Blogger developer, who had sent an email to me on that same day, March 4, at 12:51 a.m. But of course, Vadim N. Petrov is stating that Blogger News, which is a Russian platform, or blog platform, or developed by Russians, and we are also hearing is developed also by 3 Ukrainians, and that Blogspot or Blogger News is against the war. Okay, just let me reiterate that. Now, after my email, which I submitted on March 4 at 3:23 a.m., the problem was resolved, and now I'm able to post in the feed and access the pro version. And I'm gonna just to say here that Vadim's support and constant contact throughout the process must be commended. He utilized every means necessary to restore my account and was very responsive with his emails. However, it took several days to resolve this issue, for this issue to be resolved, and after my postings regarding the issue. Further, it still seemed suspicious that my blog would abruptly stop working properly, and only to realize that it's connected with Russia, which we understand is trying to control and suppress news about the war, especially those that do put Russia and the progress of the war in a negative light. Even though the advances and expectations are slow and unclear at the moment. So the timing of my account being blocked or behaving weirdly, Blogger being a Russian creation and Russia's control of the news, it would seem suspicious to anyone and speaks volume. This can lead to the conclusion of collusion, and we must be careful that this is not the message and the appearance that Blogger is trying to promote. Its reputation would suggest that it's a free and fair platform that allows for diverse and free expression, or free expressions that are honest but perspectival. And that's where I conclude here. But let me also add, there's other news coming in. Now, Russian oil giant Lukoil, and for those of us who buy gas from Lukoil, just so you know, Lukoil is a Russian oil giant. Lukoil is calling for Russia and Putin to end the war. This is worrisome for Russia, as Lukoil is their second biggest company, which generated $78 billion last year. $78 billion last year. It's also troubling for Lukoil, whose revenues come from their outlets in the US, which has a major gas company and is currently one of the more cheaper gas in the US. But the war is turning. The war is turning many people from Russia away from many people from Russia. The war is turning many people away from Russia, including many of its customers, whose business they may lose, therefore affecting their bottom line and their ability to make this $78 billion. In fact, we're also getting news reports that several Russians are defecting and fleeing Russia. I'm not talking about Ukrainians, I'm saying in Russia, Russians are fleeing Russia or defecting from Russia, and they're going to Finland. They're going to Finland and Poland. Russians are coming to the aid. Some Russians in Russia are even coming to the aid of Ukrainians. Russians themselves, or there are Russians who are against the war, Putin's war, to invade Ukraine. Now, there have been heavy sanctions meted out against Russia, and the sanctions are mounting by the minute every single day. Of course, now Biden's administration has applied several new sanctions against specific oligarchs, and we're understanding that some oligarchs are feeling the pinch. And the belief is that if we can isolate, if Vladimir Putin can be isolated, then the Russian people will rise up against him within Russia. Not just outside of Russia, within Russia. And of course, topple this terrorist, because there are many Russians who are against the war, including those from Lukoil and those from Blogger News or Blogger, and just to add that. So there are those people who are against it. And of course, if you can support Ukraine, whether through financial support, whether through prayer, and sometime earlier today, I tweeted, and for those who follow me, if you can recall that tweet, I tweeted earlier today, and this is what I said. Today I join millions of people around the world who believe in divine intervention and are praying that God intervenes so that Ukraine is victorious over terror Russia. We pray that Russia will suffer tremendous hiccups and that the world rise up against Putin and end the war. And when I said the world, I'm not just talking about people outside of Russia, but also people inside of Russia. And we're already seeing the defections. We're already seeing within Russia people fleeing Russia because of what's happening. We are understanding that banks Visa, MasterCard, several financial banks are severing ties from Russia so that now people cannot access their credit cards and MasterCards and so on and so forth. So that's what's happening in the news regarding Russia, and I hope that you will continue to follow the news and continue to follow me on Renault to check for more audio podcasts that I will submit here at the Neoliberal Round podcast periodically. Continue to follow my blog, ReinaldoCMcKenzie.blogspot.com. Continue to subscribe to my Neoliberal Commentary newsletter on LinkedIn, and check out the latest LinkedIn commentary, which will be available this Sunday coming. Continue to follow me on rmckenzie.academia.edu for my research papers and articles and drafts and projects I'm working on. And also check out my book, Neoliberalism, Globalization, Income Inequality, Poverty and Resistance, available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, in all platforms. It's also available on the Kindle, it's available on the Nook, in ebook version, it's available in the Audible, and you can also get signed copies from me if you visit eBay. My eBay account is Renmck, RENMCKE90. Thank you so much, and you can send me some comments about the program and how we can improve it, or just general feedback to ReinaldoCMcKenzie@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, for tuning in, and share this podcast with your friends. Take care.